So hi everyone, welcome to the Q&A session from Call for Curators. I'm Nona Markarian, and it's very nice to be back to our usual sessions of sharing the most recent and exciting opportunities from the world of art and culture. And today with Iris and Renee, we will be discussing the open call for curators for State of Fashion Biennale 2024. Hi Iris, hi Renee, thank you very much for joining us for this session.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, indeed.
Sure. And I think it would be very interesting to start with the history or just a little information about the State of Fashion Biennale itself. And then we can switch to the details of the open call, right? So then I pass the words to one of you, and if you could tell us more about the State of Fashion.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think it's good that I give a small introduction about the platform, and then Renee can explain a little bit and give you more insights about our focus points for this search. State of Fashion is a pioneer platform that explores urgently needed changes in fashion, and we address both environmental as well as social footprints of the fashion industry. We are based in Arnhem, and our main outcomes for the last biennial, which was in June and July 2022, was mentioned ways of caring, and we served actually all the findings as an inspiration and starting point for the new biennial. For the last biennial, we worked with 2 curated teams. This was exceptional. We worked with Fashion Open Studio and with Not Enough Collective. And together, all these 7 voices created together a brilliant program, 7 program components in which, we took as an opportunity to make the fashion industry more sustainable and caring. We have more than 70 designers and artists and makers and visionaries from all over the world. And we worked on the broken relationship between the production of fashion and the wearer. Biennial lasts for 5 weeks, and amongst the main exhibition, we also included 5 different locations with more than 85 different activities in the center of Arnhem. The range of activities was different each day, mostly interactive and created together by makers and visitors. And for us, this was really important to follow up this wish from our curated teams. Well, I will ask Renee now to give you a bit more insights about our focus point for the coming biennial.
Yes, so this is actually our second open call for curators. So as Iris already explained, for our 2022 edition, we also launched the open call for curators. And as Iris already briefly stated, is that we're sort of continuing this thread of ways of caring for our new one in 2024. And for this open call, we're looking for visionary thinkers and makers with an outspoken view on all the challenges that the world is currently facing, and the necessity for fundamental change. And of course, within that, the role that fashion can play. And it's important to also stress that we're calling out individuals, groups, teams, collectives, anyone. Basically, we also want to use this opportunity to also say you don't have to be a graduated curator. You can also be a maker, a thinker, a practitioner. Anyone who feels the need to use our sort of our sort of platform and Arnhem to share their views and actively challenge and change the existing fashion system, as our previous programs also showed, is that we want to move away from the global, the dominant perspective here in the fashion industry, acknowledging that the industrial fashion system here in the West, in the global North, I mean, is the big one, but that there are of course many dress systems around the world. So we we asked the how do you say applicants to sort of answer the key questions, which is really, or statements actually, so actively challenging prevailing perspective and making room for untold stories and experience is still our important goal. As I said before, defining the unequal power relations between the global dominant global north and the global south, and how can we share and disseminate non-Western knowledge. And for this one, this biennial in 2024, the focus is also on the concept of the exhibition and how that could be challenged and how it can be. We invite the applicants to also to provide direction and shape a vision for new forms of presentation to really engage our visitors, inspire, and maybe change their perspectives. And to round that all up, the ambition is also to make this often also very complex themes attractive to both professionals and the general public, with education and awareness as our focal point. And we hope to encourage behavioral change, new practices, and yeah, so that's in short sort of our big question for our prospective new curators or curator.
Thank you, Renee. Well, there are so many interesting topics to discuss, honestly, but yeah, since we're limited in time,
yeah,
to focus on the open call. The first question that comes to my mind is that the potential curator should be from the field of fashion, from the field of art, or should it be a researcher? Because it's such a multidisciplinary format, and I'm wondering, what is the expectation in this particular sense?
Well, I think it's important that we really have this open approach. So the applicant really needs to relate to the key questions, needs to relate towards the theme. But it can be anyone. It can be a visionary, a maker. It can be a theorist. It can be a team, a platform. It can be anyone and any theme, actually. So, and we really want to have this, yeah, to keep this really open. And as far as the last biennial involved, it was really an interdisciplinary program as well. So it's good to keep that in mind when you do your application.
Yeah. Sure. I think to add to that, if as long as you relate to fashion in the broadest sense of the word, so if whether that relates to the body or to performance, I think it is within the sphere you're explaining. I think you can many perspectives on looking at that.
Sure. And just to continue the same question about the expertise of the potential curator or curators, what are the eligibility criteria? Like, are they restricted by geographical boundaries or anything else? Like, who is eligible for the position? Let's put it like that.
Yeah, well, actually, and you can also find all our criteria and profile on the website, of course. But it's really important that first that you relate to the key questions and theme roughly theme we represented. The relevance and critical consistency is, of course, important in the proposed outline. Distinctive quality. Is it an inspiring new concept? Is it the driver of change? Is it interesting and inspiration addition to State of Fashion? Interdisciplinarity, as I just informed. Outreach, how does this proposal affect the production and consumption of the fashion system? How does it become visible? Impact, naturally, how does the proposal impact on the intended target audience? And what kind of audience do we aim for? Does it create engagement? Also really important for us. Diversity and inclusivity, naturally. We would love the applicant to present a pluriversal view to us, most ideally. So in general, we are looking for curators that have a critical and outspoken view on the urgencies of our time in general, the necessity for fundamental change, the role that fashion can play within this transition. I think that's most important to drop. It can be a junior play, it can be a designer, it can be anyone. As long as you have a very innovative groundbreaking proposal.
Yeah, so
and you don't have to be based in the Netherlands.
No.
Also, our previous team, actually the first edition in 2018, that was curated by Jose Teunis, and she was based in London in the UK, and part of our team of the last biennial in 2022 was also based in the UK. But Iris can tell a bit more about that. But it is, we have working visits, and we work remote with the team. So, but the exhibition will be in Arnhem. That's important too. The program that that will be developed will be here in Arnhem in the Netherlands. But the curator can be remote.
Yeah, and in general, roughly planning wise, to walk you through, March 5th is of course our deadline for the proposals. Then we will start our selection procedure together with our creative advisory council. This will take a while, as you can imagine. Then we will we really try to inform the pre-selection by end of March, so hopefully 31. Then in April, we will start interviewing the selected candidates, and end of April, we will announce the new curatorial team. The first visit then of the curators will most ideally be beginning of this summer. So around June, we have Fashion Month here in Arnhem as well. So it would be nice to have this combination in which the lounge and maybe also already a bit of the theme can be represented during this month. And in May 24, we will have the opening of the biennial, and it will last now for 6 to 7 weeks. So we will follow up until end of June. Furthermore, there will be 5 working visits between the curator teams here in Arnhem together with us. We work here with the local production team. Also communications, everything is facilitated and organized by State of Fashion. So you don't have to bring your own team. We covered 5 working visits, and of course, then actually your travel and stay costs during the biennial. Sure. And you don't have to stay here for 6 to 7 weeks, but we need you at the opening.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for these insights. And I'm wondering, what's the period of collaboration with the curator, like since the announcement? How long the whole contract lasts?
Well, actually, your contract lasts, of course, at the end of the biennial, naturally. But you don't, well, speaking in hours, it's really hard to say at this stage, because it's really depending on the extension of the project proposal. And as said, we as an organization cover all the pre-production, the production and communications, logistics. Everything will be arranged in this respect by us as State of Fashion.
Okay, great. And I think it would be also interesting to discuss briefly what is the approximately what is the workflow of the curator? What kind of tasks on the daily or weekly basis should be undertaken?
Yeah, naturally, yeah. Now, maybe we can explain a bit more, or you maybe also by your previous experience, Renee, with all the contributors as well. I can imagine that like last time, we had also open call for contributors, and these contributors need to be selected, of course, at a certain point. They need to start working. So from that moment, we call it also pre-production phase. You will have the weekly meetings with us, with the contributors. And we aim for beginning with this period after summer. But maybe Renee, you can explain a bit more about how this went last time with the curators.
So last time in 2021, I started working with the Not Enough Collective team on the exhibition. They started over the summer, so similar process. They started in the summer and working on the theme, on their exhibition narrative, so to say, or more sort of the overarching theme. And from the summer on, we started working on making that realistic. So of course, every proposal you're dreaming big, and then you start. The next step is, of course, working toward feasibility. So from concept to pre-production, I think that would take the summer, and then from September on we start pre-production. Also because of course we're based in here in the city, so we want to be actively looking for locations that fits the proposal of the curator or the curator team. And we go from there. So fall pre-production, making sure everything's set, reaching out to designers, making sure that all the texts are starting to get are being produced. And then from, I would say, the beginning of 2024, we go into production mode. And with production mode, I also mean exhibition design. If you're going for an exhibition, if you're of course more for and now that I'm saying that, our aim is to challenge the exhibition, so don't take this too literal, but more in the sense that from sort of the now we're opening also earlier. Last year we opened in June. Now in 2024 we want to open in May. So from January on, it's full on production mode on our side, and of course. Our aim is that everything is set from the curatorial point of view so that we can execute. So I think to answer the question on what sort of the content heavy aspect of the process might be is I think the summer and the fall, in which we that's the period in which we ask. We together work with the curator or the curator team on their plan on what's it going to be, and then together work on the realization. Thanks. So it's if we summarize it, it will be from April until April, so to say, to really go from idea into execution.
Great, thank you. Thanks for your explanations. And also another question is whether curator will decide if they will choose contributors themselves, or it's going to happen through the open call.
I think it's also depends a bit on the ideas of the curator or the curator team. It's hard to say now. Of course, last time we did work with an open call for contributors. I mean, the whole idea of opening up. This process. I'm not sure if you hear the construction that's happening here at Arnhem, but it's very distracting for us. But depends on the plan. But we, as a platform, our goal is to open up our process of selection also, and open call is of course a beautiful way of doing that. So that's why we also did it last time. But it depends on the proposal, I would say. And of course, the curator is it's their vision, it's their plan, but keeping in mind that as State of Fashion, we also, of course, are responsible for that's in line with our aims, goals, and ambitions also. But we see it as a collaboration.
Sure. Well, and probably one of the most important questions is the application process. What is expected from the applicants? What sort of proposals they need to provide? And if you could give us more details about this aspect of the open call.
Yeah, actually, I think that's quite clear, mentioned already on the application form online, what we need. Like we need a profile, we need a portfolio, we need, yeah, actually, I think this is quite clear announced already on the application form. Yeah, so maybe Amy, do you have anything to add on that? Oh, sorry.
I can share the application form in the chat, so everyone can read it over there. Maybe that's the easiest way to do.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, we will also drop the link from Call for Curators and also of the website of State of Fashion, where all interested applicants can check the details related to the open call. And I think right now I would invite the audience to ask more questions if they have any, and just to give more space to you for the direct interaction. You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself. And
I do have a question about the curatorial proposal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of like looking for a curator, but at the same time we're handing in a proposal as a project. Does it mean the feasibility of the project is very important? Because I saw the link and apparently we have to hand in a list, for example, of possible participants of the project. Does it mean that I need to discuss with the potential artist if she or he will be available for the next year? And the thing is, I don't think we have a fixed budget that I can offer for the artist neither. So there's like a lack of information that I can actually start talk with the artist to actually hand in a project which is feasible. So how far do you expect the proposal to be? Does it need to be a very, very detailed one? Or is it more about the concept and the idea which will be important for the applicant?
Yeah, I think from my
Go.
Okay. In my perspective, it's good that you give an idea about the kind of contributors you think of, kind of designers or whatever whoever they are. But to really have it this detailed already within your proposal, that's not needed, because sometimes it's also with Fashion Up Studio, they had like a very broad archive of people they used to work with, but sometimes people just are not available or accept other big projects coming up in meantime. So this is always something you need to keep in mind. So no, I don't think it should be that detailed, but it is important that you maybe give a direction of the kind of maker or designer or theorist you think of can be interested within, in addition towards your proposal.
Thank you. So does it mean it's more like it will be worked like as a mood board to give a general idea of the concept rather than the actual leads of the participants? Okay.
Yeah, it shows if you add examples, it will for us also illustrate how you see your vision or your ideas in effect within artists you want to represent within that proposal. So it's more to see where your head's at, so to say. So maybe a short bio or whatever imagery that sort of supports why you've selected them. It's more as a how do you say, as a dream that you would like to include them.
In that way, it's better. In that way, I feel less restricted, because I felt like since the deadline is the 5th of March, to get all the information of the participants, it is very restricted. But if it's more like giving the general idea of the concept, I think it opens up way more possibilities.
Yeah, definitely. And also to add on that, so I think, do I pronounce your name right?
Yes,
so
it's
Kim. Okay. No, it's important to also keep in mind that we bring designers from abroad towards Arnhem, but we always work also with local designers and makers and visionaries as well, and not only from Arnhem. But so it's really a collaboration. You give your ideas and we say, okay, but maybe this kind of designer or visionary is interested to add upon this project as well. So it's really a later stage.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you for your question, Sal.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
My name is Anastasia, based in Rotterdam, and I have a very boring question necessary to ask, I'm afraid. I'm curious about the structure of the budget and generally of the fundraising, because it gives a little bit, I understand that maybe you don't know the exact budget at the moment, but I need to understand a little bit the scale. Because I have been curating for quite a while, different exhibitions, and it could be very interesting to design something very small in scale, but it could be very interesting to invade the city. But it depends very much on what you have in mind. So if you would be so kind to give just a bit of an idea of in which direction are you planning to go, it would be very